Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. Today I have a JK in here that needs some mini skids for the control arm mounts and also needs gussets for the inner C's. As y'all know, the inner C's on a JK is one of the weak spots when you start running bigger tires. So we need to get that reinforced and we'll get this guy on the road. All right, this customer here grabbed mini skids and inner C gussets from 4 Wheel Parts Hardware. They got the G2 brand. Most of them are very similar in the sense that they are all laser cut, pressed. You have to go in and weld in all the joints when you're done. So fairly straightforward process, but before I can get to that, I have to get the tire off of the Jeep, get the brakes off, get the axle shaft out, get everything out of the way and get that inner C prepped. Okay, as we're tearing this down, I put it in just about every video so everybody understands how this works. To get this tie rod off of the knuckle, if you beat on top of the castle nut, you're gonna mushroom it out. It's not gonna come out. It's a big pain in the butt. Find a spot right here, get a BFH. You hit on the end and then the tie rod drops. Okay, so we got the sensor out for the ABS. We have the 3 13mm 12-point bolts out that hold in your unit bearing. And now we need to pull the shaft out. Now I can tell you when pulling the shaft out, it comes out nice and straight. Most of the time, not always, you're gonna find that your unit bearing is corroded and kind of seized to the knuckle. You may have to work a little bit or even get a slide puller, but in this case here, it broke free fairly easily. So when you go to pull your shaft out, you're gonna pull it straight out. When you go to put it back in, you're gonna have to support it here to get it in through the seal so you don't tear the seal. So we're gonna pull this straight out. And then you'll look here from the factory, they put these 2 little dun-dun-duns on there, and what it's designed to do is aid in putting the shaft back in, and then you'll get it right through the seal without tearing it. So when you're putting this back in, be careful. All right, to get the knuckle off, and the reason we're taking the knuckle off is when you weld on here, you can heat up your ball joints pretty good. My recommendation, some people have been fine not doing it. My strong recommendation is change your ball joints at the same time, which we are gonna do in this case. The guy who brought his GP bought some TerraFlex ball joints. We're gonna get those in there. But we have to get the knuckle off, and the key to getting the knuckle off, you got a flat spot right here on the top. BFH garage, you know I like BFHs. Leave one castle nut on so the knuckle doesn't go slamming to the ground. You're gonna hit right at the top of that flat spot until it pops. Similar to your tie rod, you get it down, and then you can pull it off the rest of the way. All right, we got the knuckle off, so now what we need to do is we need to prep the inner C for welding. I'm gonna leave the ball joints in for now, so that way any welding I do doesn't distort the inner C. Not that I'm worried about it, but it's just one extra layer of protection there. When I get done welding everything out, then we'll change out the ball joints. So the first thing I need to do, get in here and prep all those surfaces, and I also need to prep the parts that are going on there to make sure everything's gonna fit okay. We have to prep the edges. Now you guys, you've seen in my previous videos, if you want good welds, you've got to prep your metal. If you don't do that, you're not gonna get good welds. In something like this, you need the strength. So preparation is everything when it comes to welding. Make sure you wear your eyes and ears and have some fun. Don't forget your gloves. Okay, now that we have everything prepped as far as grinding down all the steel, I went ahead and tacked in place the bottom gusset. Now I'm going to put in the upper gusset. We'll get those tacked in place, and then we'll get them burned in the rest of the way. Make sure everything fits nice and snug where you want it. And double check before you start burning, because once you start burning, there's no turning around. So cut it. Bingo. All right, so now that we have the brackets all welded on, went ahead and got them primed and painted. I let them cool down first a little bit because you don't want to do it while they're scorching hot, but when they're warm, that's fine, especially when you're in a shop that's as cold as this. So now that I have that done, we need to get the ball joints out. We'll pop these out, we'll get the new ones in. All right, so once you figure out your, I go through my box every time, I should just mark them and I never do. Get those set up, and then we have to force the ball joint out of its socket. Now, it's easier if you're going the same direction that you let your C rest up against that. And then the one thing that is a big help is get yourself a cheater bar to initially break them loose. So it's going to take some pressure, or it may not, depending on how it's stuck there. This one's starting to come out already, so we're in good shape. All joint out. All right, so once you get your ball joints all set, all we gotta do now is put everything back together. Knuckles back on, get your all of your ABS wiring, your calipers, rotors, all that stuff. But one thing I want to tell you real quick before I forget is once you get these zerks put in these ball joints, make sure that you paint the top of them because these will rust if not. So you want to make sure you put a coat of paint on that, and then put everything back together and make sure you grease it before you go back out on the road. Okay, I have this project all wrapped up. We have everything put back together. Remember to torque your fasteners. Everything goes on a certain way. Don't forget your cotter pins. Now this JK needs a little bit more work to get done. He needs some sway bar links, some disconnects, quick disconnects in there. He's going to do some other work with drag link, things like that. But this is the project of getting the gussets in place and new ball joints in place. It's easy to do them both at the same time. Get those in place before you move forward with any bigger tires. You're going to run into some problems down the road. Hope this helped you out.